Today is a WRAL Weather Alert Day. I'm tracking showers and storms, plus pockets of heavy rain that could lead to flooding. What to expect for your evening.
And lawmaker under fire. How state Republicans say a Democrat crossed the line with a protest image showing a fake severed head. Then rural hospitals at risk. More than 300 hospitals nationwide could shut down under a proposed Republican bill. And some are right here in North Carolina. What's at stake and how 2 local hospitals are responding. A whole lot of rain on this WRAL Weather Alert Day. Between the Storm Tracker and the WRAL Live Cam Network, we have a good look at the storms and how they're affecting communities across the area. We've seen a handful of flash flood warnings this afternoon. But once the rain passed through Garner, take a look at this. What a beautiful rainbow we saw. Thank you for joining us at 7 o'clock. I'm Gerald Owens. Of course, the rainbow doesn't mean that the rain is gone from here. Here's a live look at the radar. You can see a lot of activity around the area. Still, with pockets of rain popping up, a lot of lightning out there, too. Meteorologist Kat Campbell's in the WRAL Severe Weather Center. Kat, we have a flood advisory in a few counties until 9 o'clock.
Yes, some areas are still seeing heavy rain, and we've got another round of rain that will fill in behind this. This is a live look at the WRAL Garner Tower camera. You can actually see the rain. One shower here, another one over here. This camera pointed toward Johnston and Harnett County, where we've got the storms right now. Quite a bit of lightning in parts of areas just east of Lewisburg. Also, Johnston County seeing a lot of lightning. We're going to continue to see these storms move in from the west. Also, these storms that impacted Greensboro and the Triad are moving in. And those storms in Greensboro produced some flash flooding, a lot of lightning now. This will be the next batch to watch for here in the Triangle. Storms are moving into Roxboro. Rocky Mount, you've got a couple of showers around, but looks like the bulk of this is going to hold off a little bit longer. The storm's pretty widespread in southern Lee County and across Harnett County tonight. A flood advisory is in effect. This includes Anger, Lillington, southeastern Fuquay-Varina, and western Johnston County until 9 o'clock. And although the flash flood warning has expired, some 4 to 6 inch rainfall totals reported here around Elm City. I'll have a closer look at when we finally transition to a drier pattern. It is truly coming, Gerald, coming up.
Very much, Kat. Brian Schrader here in the WRAL Live Center. Just a few minutes ago, we heard from Rollsville police that they're likely going to be on the scene for another hour or so, processing a crime scene where they say a wanted man shot at them during a police chase earlier today. This all started around 10:30 when police got a report of a trespassing call at a gas station on Main Street. They say they got there and Gabriel Walker had a pistol, and then he got into his vehicle and led them on a brief chase. This is video from another vehicle, and you can see video where they say Walker started shooting at them, fired shots at Rollsville police officers, and Rollsville police officers fired back. This all ended shortly later in this parking lot at a CVS and an auto parts store on Main Street, where they say they took Walker into custody. No injuries, thankfully, in all this, but 2 cruisers were damaged, including that one that has some bullet holes in the driver window. Charges are pending. Walker did have outstanding warrants, including assault on a female.
Thank you, Brian. A new report on Person County Department of Social Services was released today. It details what the county is doing right and what needs to improve. The report comes at a sensitive time. A 1-year-old in Person County custody last month died. An investigation is underway. WR's Eric Miller is covering this story tonight. He joins us from right outside the state DHHS offices in Raleigh. Eric, the state now involved in this investigation.
Absolutely, Gerald. A lot of players here. There's state DHHS, local offices, and the Person County Sheriff's Office all involved here. Person County Sheriff Skeet Wilborn tells me tonight they are still working to learn the cause of death for that 1-year-old who was found last month. They're waiting on a toxicology report. This all, of course, goes back to this case starting May 24th. That is when 1-year-old Kamari Morgan was found dead there at what his family has said was the foster home that both he and his 2-year-old sister had been placed at. In the 2 weeks since his death, Morgan's family and community activists have been pushing for answers here. They've also been calling for Morgan's sister, who is at the home when Morgan died, to be placed either with their mother or grandmother.
I'm here because this should shake all of us. When children die, something has to change.
Now, of course, all of this is happening as that report was just released this morning looking into Person County DSS. This report doesn't deal with Morgan's case directly. It's been in the works for more than a year. Instead, it calls on the county to help reorganize Person County DSS, to change some leadership positions, and to help it engage better with the community, including when it comes to providing foster care services. Now, tonight, we are still working to get more back from Person County DSS on this case, particularly. We'll bring you those details as soon as we get them. In Raleigh, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
Thank you, Eric. WRAL has done extensive reporting on the problems with DSS offices around the state. Our documentary, Broken, Foster Care in North Carolina, honed in on foster care and the patchwork of systems from county to county. You can find the documentary and more of our reporting on the WRAL YouTube page. We are fresh off a weekend filled with protests across the country and a big celebration in Washington, D.C. for the Army's 250th anniversary. Today, some members of the state Republican Party are calling on a Democratic lawmaker to resign. As WRAL's Carly Haynes reports, it's because of something she posted online.
The photo that's getting attention in part because of who posted it. North Carolina Representative Julie Von Hafen, a Democrat, shared this picture of a No Kings protester Saturday. A sign shows a guillotine next to a depiction of President Donald Trump. Hours later, Von Hafen removed the post. She said the sign was inappropriate and she condemns political violence. Analyst David McLennan says the post perpetuates a problem.
It's not everyone who sees that sign obviously is going to commit violence, but it just makes it seem like, that's normal, and that's never normal.
On X, Republican House Speaker Destin Hall called the behavior disgraceful. Similar moments have happened across the aisle, followed by what analyst Jason Husser labels a blame game.
We are in such a tight political environment in North Carolina in which one or two votes can make the difference in controversial legislation.
In 2020, the GOP candidate to lead the state's schools, Michelle Morrow, called for a televised execution of Barack Obama. Last July, Republican candidate for governor Mark Robinson said on the campaign trail, some folks need killing. North Carolina is noticing. A recent Elon University poll showed nearly 3/4 of state voters were concerned about violence shortly after the November election.
So when people see images like what was shown in that social media post, it really can be a moment that catalyzes people to say, yeah, see, this is what that other side is all about.
Carly Haynes, WRAL News, Raleigh.
It's not clear what, if any, disciplinary action will come from the social media post. The chair of the North Carolina Democratic Party issued a statement. It reads, "This manufactured outrage over a photo in a reel to take advantage of the recent tragedy in Minnesota rings incredibly hollow and is a desperate attempt to change the narrative." If you are just getting to the news of the day, let's get you caught up. Here are 5 things you should know right now. A man wanted for a murder in Granville County is in custody. The sheriff's office says Michael Wright surrendered this morning. He's accused of killing 63-year-old Teresa Davis and her 26-year-old son, Joseph Jeffries Jr. This happened last night just before 7 p.m. on Maple Street in Henderson. Wright is being held without bond in the Granville County Detention Center. A 4-year-old boy from Garner drowned in Carteret County over the weekend. It happened Saturday night at Goose Creek Campground. The sheriff's office identified the boy as Braden Edwards. He was visiting with family and was found in a pond. Bystanders attempted CPR, but the boy died at the hospital. The Johnston County school system has a new cell phone policy. Students and teachers are banned from using their cell phones in the classroom, but there are some exceptions. Students can use their phones during emergencies. High schoolers can use them during lunch as well. The staff can also use phones during an emergency and whenever they are not supervising or instructing students. North Carolina will receive about $150 million in the Purdue Pharma settlement. All 50 states and Washington, D.C. signed on to this deal worth nearly $7.5 billion. This ends the litigation against the company and the Sackler family for their role in the national opioid crisis. Tomorrow, the heat index expected to go above 100 degrees. Wake County is responding by opening cooling stations tomorrow and Wednesday. You can stop by any Wake County Public Library, county rec centers, or Health and Human Services buildings. There's always new development going on around the area, and we'd like to talk about growth and change here at 7 o'clock and how it affects you. Like the future of Lake Crabtree Park. Today, Wake County approved a new lease to keep a portion of the park open for the next 20 years. It's a big deal because for a while it looked like that may not happen. We kept seeing big crowds of people showing up at public meetings demanding the county renew its lease. This all started because of a new rule from the FAA. It was finalized in 2023, saying any airport land that is to be sold or leased must be at fair market value. The county signed a new lease with RDU today, and for starters, it's going to cost a lot more than it did before, more than $200,000 a year. RDU had been letting the county lease it for $1 a year, not exactly fair market value. Now, this is the part that still has people upset. The county only gets to use the portion of the park, about 70 acres, shaded in green on this map. The other 140 acres, shaded in orange, is going to RDU. All the bike trails that were in that upper section are closed. RDU gets to decide what happens next with the property. They even made a wish list. In the bid request, they said they want to create a unique and innovative entertainment destination which will be appealing to the Greater Triangle area and may include community assets like food and beverage, retail, hotel, and recreational facilities. Now, bear in mind, this is the most popular park in the county with 330,000 visitors last year, and many of them say that this deal is a disappointment.
A lot of the use was because there were so many things to do there, and now you're cutting out a whole lot. So, time will tell whether it's going to be the most used park. And now it may just be a drain on Wake County dollars.
As for the bike trails, county staff said they're looking into extending the trails into Umstead State Park. We'll see what RDU decides for their portion of the property. Still ahead, new research from UNC shows hundreds of hospitals could close if the One Big Beautiful Bill becomes law. At least 2 of them are in our area. Up next, what they say about this and what's being done to help these hospitals. But first, let's look ahead to some of the stories we're watching this week. There's a public hearing tomorrow for WakeMed's plan to build a new emergency department in Roseville. It's a $54 million project. The public hearing is at 10 a.m. in the Edgerton building on the Dix campus. The Federal Reserve has a big meeting on Wednesday. This is where they decide what's next for interest rates. Now, most forecasters expect them to hold rates steady. Thursday is Juneteenth, the day slavery officially ended in this country. There are a lot of events going on around the area. Some are listed on our website. And Friday marks the official start of summer, meaning longer days and hotter weather. Of course, we can all wait for that. We're back after this.
Some breaking news from the WRAL Live Center. In the past 10 minutes, we've learned that tonight's Biba Doobie show at the Red Hat Amphitheater in downtown Raleigh has been canceled. And a lot of people upset about this because only about an hour ago, officials with Red Hat said that the show was going on as scheduled. In this updated post, they say it's not a rain or shine situation. It's because thunderstorms are developing and that lightning threat is too dangerous. Of course, Kat will have another radar update coming up in just a few minutes.
You got to play it safe. Brian, thank you. 153 rural hospitals nationwide have closed in the last 20 years. That's according to data from the UNC Shep Center. They're represented by the yellow dots on this map. Now, researchers say more than twice that number could close if the Republican-sponsored One Big Beautiful Bill Act becomes law. That's because of the proposed cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. As WRAL Health reporter Grace Haba tells us, 2 hospitals that could close are in our area.
338, all in rural areas. That's how many hospitals researchers with the UNC Shep Center in Chapel Hill say are at risk of closing under proposed cuts to Medicare and Medicaid. Researchers with the center have been tracking rural hospital closures and impacts for more than 20 years. The latest data was collected upon request from Senate Democrats, who sent this letter to President Donald Trump, House Speaker Mike Johnson, and Senate Majority Leader John Thune. Research found 46 states are at risk of losing at least one rural hospital. 5 hospitals in North Carolina made the list, including Person Memorial in Roxborough and UNC Health Chatham. Shep Center data stated neither hospital has been profitable within the last 3 years. Monday, both hospitals released statements to WRAL acknowledging Medicaid cuts would disproportionately affect patients and providers in rural areas. But given that each falls under the Duke LifePoint and UNC Health umbrellas respectively, hospital spokespeople noted being a part of larger hospital systems provides additional support and protection against the risk of closure. Grace Haba, WRAL News.
The House-approved budget bill does have some provisions to help rural hospitals. The bill would expand the Rural Emergency Hospital Program, or REH. This program allows hospitals at risk of closure to keep their emergency rooms open. They enroll in Medicare and receive an additional 5% payment. But this is specifically for emergency services, and patients generally can't stay at that hospital longer than 24 hours. The REH program began in 2023. There are 40 of them around the country. These are the blue dots on this map. So far, there are no REH programs in North Carolina. But Martin General in Martin County could be the first. It closed in 2023. It would be the first hospital to close, then reopen as an REH. All the other examples we just showed you were transitions. There are many reasons why Martin General is still closed, and you can find that full story on WRAL.com. The Bipartisan Policy Center did a progress report on the first 2 years of the REH program. They found that it is effectively serving its purpose of offering a new option for transforming health care delivery at struggling rural facilities. The report did have some recommendations to improve the program, including expanding the number of hospitals that can participate. Sounds like this budget bill addresses that concern. The REH has been successful filling some gaps in rural health care. But if another 300 plus hospitals shut their doors, that would be a lot more gaps. And we'll see whether or not expanding the REH program would be enough to fill them. Meteorologist Kat Campbell back with us. Kat, a lull around the center of our area, almost like the eye of a hurricane.
It's this little circle. You see it right around the triangle right now where it's not raining. I've had a lot of viewers reach out. They've opened up their WRAL weather app and they noticed, hey, it's raining everywhere around me on the Dual Doppler 5000. That's not going to continue all night. We don't have a protective dome over us. We're going to see these storms move our way out of Chatham County and Sanford. However, these storms are moving very slowly. They're only moving to the east at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. So you still have a little time before they get here in the triangle. The main threat is going to be heavy rainfall, and we'll have the threat for some frequent lightning as well. Now, the lightning threat will gradually subside as we head later into tonight, and it shifts to more of a heavy rain threat. Roxborough, you're seeing intense rainfall right now. A lot of lightning in that cell. Henderson dealing with the storm. Northern Nash County starting to see a storm move in as well. Around Wake County, all is quiet a bit longer. If you've got a dog you need to take out, now is the time to do it. Sanford, a lot of thunder and lightning, heavy rain, and we're going to see some additional bands of heavy rain make their way into northern Harnett County, where there remains a flood advisory. There was some lightning I just saw in the distance on the Roxborough camera. So a lot of lightning out there, a lot of rain. When you look at the rainfall over the past 24 hours, these are actual reports, not just radar estimates. You got those 2 to 4-inch rainfall totals closer to Wilson County, Edgecombe County, and of course some locally higher totals, even around Roxborough, already an inch in North Raleigh and parts of Johnston County as well. If we look ahead tonight, we'll see these storms make their way into Wake County. The new run of Futurecast, this updates every hour, has those storms moving into the triangle closer to 9 o'clock tonight. And then as we get toward midnight, they're hanging out a bit longer, slowly to push to the east. We could even see some rain and storms linger through 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. The front has stalled, and that's why these storms just keep setting up and going over the same areas, dumping heavy rain again and again. Our next front doesn't get here till Thursday. That one does bring the threat for some strong to severe storms, potentially. We're just in the severe storm possible zone right now. We're not yet under a level 1, 2, 3, etc. kind of severe threat. So let's track that front. On Wednesday, it's actually pretty quiet ahead of the front, but Thursday, we'll see this low pressure move closer, and this is the front right here that moves in Thursday evening. After that, we actually break out of our stormy weather pattern. High pressure will build in from the west. This ridge of high pressure is going to help suppress storm development. So once we get past Thursday's front, storm chances are just 20% into the weekend and down to 0% early next week. The issue is our attention shifts from storms to the bigger heat. Tomorrow, we're in the low to mid 90s for highs. We could see some thunderstorms pop up during the afternoon between about 3 and 8 p.m. These are going to be very hit or miss and not as widespread spread as today. But boy, it's going to get hot around here. Mid-90s Wednesday and Thursday. Over the weekend, mid to even upper 90s. That's not the heat index. That's the temperature. The heat index will be well into the triple digits this weekend, Gerald.
We're going to want some of that rain by the time we get to Monday after those temperatures near 100, Kat.
Oh, yes.
And you were talking about Roxborough. There it is over my shoulder. You can still see it raining on top of that building. It's just a soggy day today.
It is. We've been stuck in this pattern. I'm excited for a little bit of weather change. That's what I like about North Carolina growing up here. You know, typically we get these changes. So after a few weeks of daily storms, it'll be nice for a difference.
All right, Kat. Thank you. For all you North Carolina newbies, did you know that Pepsi was invented here? Let's talk about how the soft drink officially got its name on this day 122 years ago. One last thing in about 2 minutes.
Kat Campbell here with a quick update. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for that storm I was telling you about in Sanford. This severe thunderstorm warning also includes Chatham County, Harnett County, and just a tiny sliver of southwestern Wake County. The main threat, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and the warning will last until 7:45. Gerald.
All right, Kat, thank you. One last thing before we go. Today marks 122 years since Pepsi got its name. The soft drink was invented by a pharmacist in New Bern, North Carolina. Technically, Caleb Bradham first came up with the name in 1893, but it wasn't until June 16, 1903, that the U.S. Patent Office registered the trademark. At first, he called it Brad's Drink, but he went with the name Pepsi-Cola because the enzyme pepsin used to be part of the secret formula. You can still visit Bradham's Pharmacy in downtown New Bern. Thanks for making WRAL your choice for local news. Our next newscast is 10 o'clock on Fox 50 and 11 o'clock on WRAL.